So today we want to focus most on the post-comp rebound and the diet side of things, yeah?
Mhm.
So anyway, I don't really know what you've been through with that. I remember you saying that possibly you had accumulated an eating disorder due to that type of thing. So tell us a little bit about that, if you want to tell us a little bit about that.
Of
This is just,
course. Are we
this is just to
recording?
help other people, yeah, to help so other people are aware of this, kind of an awareness
Yeah.
podcast. Yeah.
We're recording now. Or...
Yeah, it's already recording.
Oh, okay, cool. Welcome to the Dylan Show. Um, yeah, so basically, let's go back at when I was 17,
Yeah.
so like 9 years ago. I competed, I did, NABA and WFF, and I got into bodybuilding at a really young age. And
How old's young?
I, pardon?
How old is young?
17,
Okay. Yep.
or when I was in high school.
Yep.
Yeah, I started competing. I had my like chicken and asparagus in class. I was actually really lucky. I didn't have a coach that was super restrictive or put me on PEDs or anything. I was really lucky in that aspect.
Yeah.
But I
17.
guess I did, yeah, I guess I did develop some disordered eating patterns from a very young age. I also competed again when I was 19. And I think after that, I just felt so lost. And my coaches never really had a reverse dieting plan for me. And I was kind of just like left on my own. And I didn't gain too much. I think it was only like 12 kilos post comp, but that, I had disordered eating patterns after that that lasted like literally years.
Which is quite
Um,
easy to happen when you don't have a reverse diet order and plan as well. I
absolutely.
I was the
Yeah.
same with my first comps. I I didn't have a coach who reverse dieted or anything like that. It was just like you finish your comp and you pretty much you go on your way just to do whatever the fuck you want. And yeah, that creates bad binge eating habits to begin with because you're in a state of starvation already. And then, yeah, you
Mhm.
feel kind of lost as well because you think, well, I don't have, I've had this big goal in place, like this massive goal. So it's something to focus on, something that I've, sculpted my whole life around to be able to get to. And then you finally achieve this goal. And then after that, like there's, especially with no reverse diet, you don't know where to go after that. You think, fuck, what am I supposed to do? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's super important, but I would say that reverse dieting is harder than actual dieting. I did my first proper reverse diet this year
Yep.
after a cut. It is definitely because you don't have that, oh my God, I'm going to jump on stage and people are going to see me naked kind of fear. It's just like, why would I use that discipline if I, don't have to kind of thing. But it is, yeah, you have your best physique and also um, really, I guess, harness the post show rebound if you do it correctly.
Yeah, and you're
Yeah,
also at like the peak level of starvation as well, with nowhere to go. You're lost. You don't have a goal. And
yeah.
you're hungry as fuck. So all you want to do is eat.
How much did you gain as your max, like after you comp?
I don't think like I did. There was a fair few comps where I didn't reverse diet because I didn't know any better,
Yeah,
and I think it was like a pretty standard thing for me to gain 10 kilos.
in a week.
Yeah, probably in a week and a half.
That's crazy. That's nuts.
Whereas things are completely different now because I've done so many now with the knowledge of how to reverse diet.
Yeah,
It's I've right. So for the last couple of shows, between the state show and the national show, I've already finished my reverse diet because I hold condition really well. So I've reverse dieted, structured everything properly going into the next comp. So I'm a lot fuller. I look a lot leaner. It works a lot better for me, and I've already finished the reverse diet. So when comp's finished, I can pretty much just sit on maintenance if I want to
awesome.
after nationals, which is it's a good way to go about things, but that's not going to work for everyone. If everyone tried to do that, especially first timers, it would probably accumulate too many calories too quickly and end up gaining unwanted fat. Yeah.
Absolutely. And what tips would you give, I guess, girls or guys from wanting to compete, like on how not to rebound and, well, no, how to take a proper approach to reversing out of the comp?
So first of all, this is something that I haven't yet done with clients that I only just recently learned that I probably should have, is to get them in a psychological state of um, once they compete, that's not the end of prep. let's say prep goes for another 2 to 4 weeks after that.
Yeah.
Probably not 2, but yeah, like I would say 2 because if you start reverse dieting nice and strict, then there is room for a free meal here and there, maybe weekly, maybe even twice weekly. If you're a
Body
bit,
just absorbs it, the linear one. And I think you use that to your detriment. You're like, you know how much you can get away with.
but realistically, you want about 4 weeks of still focusing to stay nice and strict with with the realization that you're probably going to get a free meal at least once a week. So it's something to look forward to as well and help you stick to the goal. But I don't know if that's a realistic thing to tell people because once they finish the comp and they're starving, they don't want to listen to the coach really anymore too much because they're just hungry and they want to eat all this cool shit that they've been looking at the whole time they've been prepping. And they
Yeah.
just take it to another level where they kind of stick their head in the sand and they try and just pretend that it's not a real thing, that you're going to accumulate fat a lot quicker than normal. Adipocyte hyperplasia is a thing. So you are going to gain new fat cells if you don't do it correctly. Um,
Mhm.
Eating disorders are a thing also, and even intolerances. Like I know there hasn't been scientific studies done on this, I don't think, because I don't think the government or anyone wants to pay scientists to study bodybuilders because yeah, we're pretty we're less than probably 0.5 of the population, and we're probably not an easy person to work with either. So,
No.
and this is just going on my experience and what I've seen. I think intolerances are created post comp a lot. Like, definitely
Mhm.
you're intolerant to a lot of things because you could, have paprika up until four weeks out of comp, and then maybe like not everybody, but a lot. Quite often, there's different herbs and spices where that paprika will then you'll be intolerant to it. Your guts will start bloating and things will start happening because your gut microbiome just
Sensitive.
um, used to the nice clean foods that you're putting in there and getting a lot more sensitive at the same time, that yeah,
Yeah.
little things will set it off. And coming out of comp, it's even more sensitive. So I think a lot of intolerances are created then. Like you'll realize that if you have, say, lactose or something like that, you're going to bloat really quickly. And I think if you thrash it, like your body's probably going to remember that. Your gut microbiome could remember that and could have a long-term lactose intolerance after that. So yeah, it
Mhm.
is sensible to really slowly implement new foods back into your diet, even if they are foods that you had in your diet previously but had to pull out at, say, 6 to 8 weeks out or something like that. So you really want to be careful on what you implement back in, how fast you implement it back in at, and yeah, the amounts obviously.
Yeah, for sure. I feel, to be honest, it feels strange, like talking about comps because I've been out of the competition scene for so long. I don't actually feel like a competitor anymore, but I love bodybuilding. Um, I've debated whether or not to compete again, and it's a very tricky one. I would like to, but I'm not sure if that is the best route right now for my personal relationship with food, because it did fuck me up so badly
Yeah, so
when I
tell
did compete.
tell us a little bit about that. And what was your rebound out of comp? What was the most weight you gained coming out of comp?
Um, I gained 12 kilos, but it was like over probably a year, so not too bad.
How about the first
But
couple of weeks?
I don't remember. It was so long ago. But when I first competed, I was 48 kilos and I was just like skin and bone.
That
I
was
was
your stage weight.
pardon?
That was your stage weight.
Yeah, 48 kilos.
That's
And then I was
quite common
53.
because you'd have been
Pardon?
NABBA as well. How come you did NABBA? How come you didn't do an ICN or something like that?
I did ICN the first round when I was 17, and
Okay.
then I did NABBA the second round when I was 19. Yeah. And then I got into partying and left the comp scene.
All right. Yeah, that happens quite often with people who try and get into the fitness stuff when they're at a younger age and still haven't
Yeah.
done partying yet. Whereas
Interesting.
if you get people who jump in a little bit older, they've pretty much done the partying thing. They've created all these addictions and everything to drugs and all that, and they use fitness or competing or something to get themselves out of that, like myself.
Interesting. All my friends were like 30 and bodybuilders that used to party when I was when I was 20. Yeah.
Yeah. Usually it's one or the other. And when people are doing both, they really mess up their health a lot because they party, they hit all these other drugs while they're on PEDs, and it's a mess. Yeah.
Absolutely, I can imagine. I'm
Nice.
just glad I only did it like then and I didn't. Oh, actually, no, it probably destroyed a bit of my brain when I was younger. Wish I'd waited older, but oh well.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah, what happened with the eating after comp anyway?
absolutely. So basically, yeah, when I was 19, I competed, and then that was kind of the end of that. And then over a couple of years, it kind of spiraled out of control. I developed bulimia, and it was pretty bad. And I eventually saw an eating disorder psychologist like 4 years ago for
Okay.
it, and it was very bad. Like I'd say through lockdown. Um, but I'm healed now. I wouldn't say my relationship with food is like perfect, but I'm a lot better than I was. And I think a few cues, like a few foods, can be a bit triggering,
Yeah.
but like I just write down my phone, every time there's reasons what makes me kind of, I don't like the word go off track, but what can cause like a little bit more triggering when I start to include very hyper palatable foods. And maybe I used to have protein bars, I don't anymore, but they would be very triggering.
So
So yeah, it's been a journey, I'll say that.
it's good that you're speaking openly about it too. I think a lot more people need to hear about this type of thing. And I guess that's the whole point in this podcast as well at the moment. So people can hear about this type of thing from somebody who's experienced it. And bulimia is actually quite a common one post-comp. With females, I've never heard of a male going down that route, but yeah, I think once you get that, you get the fat skinny thing in your head as well post comp. Like you're too fat, but you're too skinny. Like you think you've lost all your muscle because you smooth off a little bit. So you think that all your muscle's gone, and
Yeah.
but you think you're fat at the same time because you're just not shredded anymore. Like people need to accept that you're going to get a little bit soft and fluffy post comp, unless you've been doing it for a really long time. I've been doing it for quite a while now, so I can stay lean year round if I want to because I'm a seasoned competitor, and it's a lot easier for me to stay lean because my muscles just chew it all up now. That not fat, obviously, but I can eat a lot of carbs and my muscles chew it up. And metabolism's always running high because of the way that I carb cycle things as well. Like my T3 is always above reference range, and that's year round as well, mostly. But yeah, another good thing with carb cycling is it's kind of carb and fat cycling too. I had a competitor, most women lose their period during comp prep or heavy sleep deficit. But yeah, I kind of figured out a way. Now it's not going to work for everyone, but I figured out a way to get the period to come back, and that was by um, simultaneously cycling carbs and fats, which was really
Mhm.
interesting. And yeah, she had her period regularly all the way through her whole prep. It came back after that. And
Yeah.
she even had her period at 1 day out, like she all the way up to comp. And luckily it went away when she went to comp. So there wasn't any extra bloat or anything like that. But yeah, it was really healthy.
Awesome. So you essentially have higher fats on non-training days.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best way to go about it. And obviously the carbs are going to go higher on the training days. If it's more of a fatiguing training day, more of a taxing training day, you can go higher carbs.
You definitely stay year round. Like if you're a guy, I mean, obviously it's not going to be great for your test, especially if you're not enhanced. But females, we can't really get away with that. And I tried to stay quite lean up until Feb, and then I started experiencing a bunch of terrible hormone effects, like on my mental health. And then I got my bloods back, and I was pretty much in the ranges of a perimenopausal woman. I had no estrogen, like no progesterone. I was getting memory loss, like it was crazy.
Really? Do you know
Yeah.
what caused that? Was it just diet?
Functional hypothalamic amenorrhea, my naturopath thinks it was pretty much just dieting. And I was like, even reverse dieting out, the energy intake wasn't sufficient for the amount of training I was doing, the intensity of my sessions.
So you pretty you should have sorry, I can't even fucking talk. You should have pulled back on the training a little bit to run it in correlation with your diet, in opposed to trying to push balls to the wall because
Yeah.
you felt like it was a good time to do so. Yeah, which is an
And also just
easy thing
life
to do.
stress as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Stress can really affect it. I didn't realize how much so, but yeah.
Yeah, well, cortisol is really big on pretty much blocking other pathways and stopping you from potentially going in the direction you want to go. If you're stressed out about things, your body your body's not going to react the way that it's supposed to, or the way that you want it to.
Say goodbye to ovulation for, that month if your catecholamines are always running the show. And I couldn't even sleep. Like, I was just always on edge. And I'd say Rhodalia and ashwagandha really helped as well, and
Is this
doing
why
breath work.
is this why you were in surplus? Because you said you were doing a growth phase, yeah?
Yeah, yeah, not just for that because I've got a ton of muscle I need to gain, but yeah, mainly
You've
it's
actually you've gained muscle really freaking quickly, faster than anyone else in our gym because we train in the same gym. Like
I
I
think
see
so.
quite
I,
regularly.
I, I can't tell. I started coaching myself. That's
Yeah, you and your partner, Jacob, like Jacob's grown substantially as well. The both of you are growing really well. So that goes to show that you actually know what you're doing too.
yeah, I might need to get a coach soon, but I'm just winging it at the moment.
Yeah,
It's no,
coaches are really good for accountability, and it's also good to learn some new things here and there as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I just like it for having like I know I can get myself results, but I will chop and change things way too often if I'm doing it myself. I'll be like, oh no, let's
Yeah.
just add in, a few more sets of this or take away this or like
Easy to do. Yeah, very easy to do, but definitely you want to try and run yourself through something for 16 weeks with consistency without changing things up too much. You can obviously progress with training
Mhm.
spread out across them 16 weeks. But I think what you're saying is you're adding things in like way too early. Yeah.
Mhm. I'm doing the J3U female module at the moment. It's really good.
Okay. I
Yeah,
haven't
I
done
love it.
J3U. I'm a big follower of John Jewett, but I haven't done the J3U. My mate Hoops did. We pretty much get a lot of our knowledge from the same sources, and yeah, he's really good at what he's doing at the moment too. He's showing a lot of progression as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Um,
So
so do you have a lot of women you take through like build phases typically? What do they come to you for usually?
yeah, look, the women that come to me are usually, look, more or less, I get a lot of weight loss clients when it comes to females, but I do get the occasional competitor as well, or just somebody who wants to, gain a little bit of muscle. So yeah, it's a little bit of everyone. But I find that female or male, doesn't matter what sex you are, when it comes to a growth phase, everybody, even the people who are big eaters, wants to whinge about food when it comes to like you start getting to around the 8 week mark through surplus when calories continue to go up and people are getting really full and they're like, oh, it's really hard, it's so hard to eat the food. And I try give as much mental support through that as I can, and try and tell them, look, it's the 1% of people that can actually push on the food to be able to grow the sufficient muscle to be competitive on stage. That's it's not easy. Like it's not supposed to be easy. Nobody said getting jacked was going to be easy. That's why there's not many jacked people around because the
Absolutely.
inside of thing is really hard. Like, yeah, you can eat a boatload of stuff when you come out of a comp because you're under starvation basically.
The
And
leptin levels haven't quite,
yeah,
regulated.
leptin levels are pretty non-existent, but ghrelin's going off its head and
Mhm.
you're hungry all the time because you don't have those emergency fat stores anymore, your reserve energy. You don't have like everything's depleted. So you just want to eat and eat and eat and eat, and your body wants fat desperately because it's a survival mechanism. And without it, your body thinks it's going to die. So it just wants fat all the time. And this is what I think post comp, a lot of look, I do find men to be better than women post comp. Like men can stick to a reverse diet a lot more strict and actually take it seriously once you tell them, look, this could happen, that could happen, and all the negative symptoms that could happen, they take it a lot more seriously and they can stick to it. When you tell women, they kind of, not all women, some women are good at it, but more so it's the females that will stick their head in the sand and pretend that nothing's going to happen. They're hungry. They're just going to quickly eat something now and they'll clean up their diet tomorrow. But tomorrow becomes tomorrow. Tomorrow's always tomorrow. It never becomes today. Yeah. It's
It can be really hard if you're not prepared for it mentally, especially after your first comp. Um, Looking back, I wish that I had done more of a strength-based sport and set some other goals post-comp. And also, as you said, I think it's really good that you see the prep with your clients, not just like ending the prep, but also like the reverse diet. So it's not a 20-week prep, it's like a, 26, 30-week prep or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So yeah, I'm definitely going to get onto that when I have competitors next season, especially female focused. I'll tell them, look, let's not look at comp like that's the end of prep. Let's look at it like there's another 6 weeks to go after that, with a little bit of flexibility, because that's,
Mm-hmm.
I think if you give people flexibility, it's a lot easier to stick to any plan. Yeah. But then also there's that potential that if you don't time the flexibility correct, like you want to have, if there's going to be a free meal, it wants to be the last meal of the day. So you put it on a Saturday night when they can go out for dinner and enjoy it. Because if you put that free meal first thing in the day, it's meal one, there's a big high chance that they're going to be fucking up for the rest of the day, because that free meal is probably going to have some type of refined sugars in it or something like that, because they might want a dessert or something like that to treat themselves, which is going to set off a whole lot of things hormonally and yeah, psychologically, that are just going to make you want more and more and more. And that's exactly what's going to happen.
It is really hard to come back the day after kind of a binge and trying to just, eat normally. Um, yeah, all those foods, I guess, designed to hijack your reward center. So
Exactly.
causes,
Yeah,
yeah.
dopamine's going off its head, and you just don't want to eat clean again after that, because you're chasing that dopamine hit. You want your reward system to feel satiated, but it doesn't.
Yeah. I think macros can go one of both ways. With like, I have some clients that like during the deficit, they need a little bit of, dark chocolate every day to kind of keep them sane. That's the one thing they look forward to. That's what keeps them compliant. But others, like myself, for example, I like to have a weekly or fortnightly meal out with Jacob. At the moment, it's kind of fortnightly, but I prefer not to track it. I just mentally in my head leave X amount of carbs and fats, ideally like post workout, and we'll go and have a meal.
Yeah, well,
But
if you're tracking for the rest of the week as well, the last thing you want to do is track on a meal that you're supposed to enjoy. I think it's I think it's uh, mentally good to not track it and just eat, as long
mhm,
as you're not gorging yourself, as long as you're not like eating out of
going
control.
to Okami.
Hey,
Going to Okami.
what is that? Is that?
Okami isn't even that bad, but yeah, Okami is like an all-you-can-eat Japanese place.
Oh, yep, that's right. So one of my friends told me about that the other day, actually. I think they went there for a birthday party. But yeah, you definitely don't want to go to an all you can eat and try and get your money's worth with a.
But a little tip is to maximize that meal out. You could have a big leg session and then go for like sushi afterwards and mostly have carbohydrates, and then most of that's going to be pulled into obviously the intramuscular glycogen as
Yeah,
opposed to being stored as
that,
more body fat.
that is a good tip. Another good tip is to eat all your veggies, your whole day's vegetable intake before you go for that meal.
Mhm.
Yeah, and get some proteins in as well. So you're already somewhat satiated when you walk into the place. You're not going to eat like a pig. But in saying that, if someone who was post comp did that, I think they could still eat like a pig while they're in there.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Do you find that like kind of pivoting topic, but since jumping on like ADHD meds, do you think they have improved your adherence or
definitely.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I'm a lot more focused. Like, you know how you can go off track just because you forget why you're focused and what your goal is sometimes. With ADHD, you can easily forget that and just have a snacksident. And then after you've had that, then you'll be like, oh shit, what did I do that for? I'm supposed to be doing this. But with the ADHD medication, I'm constantly reminded, I'm just focused all the time. So it's been a lot better. And there's also that plus side of it being an appetite
Look
suppressant.
at a pigster.
Hey,
Holding on to a pigster.
I am.
I
Why?
love them. We've
Focus,
got them.
focus, Matilda.
Oh,
But
yeah,
yeah, look,
true.
I think the Dexies, the ADHD meds, have also been a good little tool because they're a stimulant. They're also an appetite suppressant. Not that they're going to stop you from getting hungry through a prep, but somewhat, maybe 2%. So it's something.
Mm.
You're on the ADHD side of the spectrum where you don't want to take meds, where on the other side where I'm all for it.
Actually, recently I've been considering, taking them again. I think I'm going to book in with my psychiatrist because I did like Vyvanse, but I just couldn't sleep on it. And obviously in a build, my biggest priority is sleep. With Dexies, I do like them, but when they wear off, I get like a really extreme hunger. Um, I went to go train, after taking Dexies the other day, and for some reason ADHD meds just make me not interested in my training at all. And they make my eyes feel really dry, I guess. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm
But
prepared for everything. Look, I've got eye drops right here. I'm
people
always
can't tell you it's weird.
going to say something else on that. Vyvanse, so you're having it in the morning?
Yeah. I'm scared to take it again. I've been taking Dexies the last 2 days.
What strength was the Vyvanse?
Pardon?
What strength was the Vyvanse?
Like 30, but I would break it in half a quarter.
Uh, uh, isn't it capsule?
Yeah.
Oh, so
I
you
would mix it
open
in
it
a quarter. Yeah.
open it and make little lines. I was just joking. I don't make lines.
No.
But and yeah, look, I think anyone with ADHD should be medicated for ADHD. Medication's there for a reason. As long as you're getting it through a psych and the psych saying it's okay and telling you what strength you should be using it at, and it's an acceptable dosage and not picking you off your head and ruining your life going the other direction instead of going into a focused direction. Yeah, I think all people with ADHD should be using medication because it's a big help.
Isn't it funny though, giving, the people with the most addictive tendencies like such a regulated substance?
Well, it's within our grasp, so it's all right because we can get more. As
I
long as
went through a phase when I took 8 Dexies in one day when I was like really just starting out with the medication and trialing it.
that's a lot. Look, honestly, I have half of what I'm prescribed to have. I'm supposed to have two at a time, two, 4 times a day, I think it is, or 3 times a day.
What? That's so much.
So 10 megs, 10 megs, 10 megs. I have my Vyvanse in the morning, 40 megs, and I halve it because if I have any more, but it also depends on what PEDs I'm on as well. If I'm on a high dosage, I need less Dexies. If I'm on a low dosage, I need more Dexies. It's funny that,
Interesting. How's
yeah.
that? Interesting.
Yeah, yeah, it is. But I think I'm hypersensitive to everything as well. I'm hypersensitive to PEDs. I'm hypersensitive to medications, which is great. I need to use only a small amount. But
Are you
yeah,
talking about maybe stimulant PDs would interfere with the Vyvanse?
no, not just any PEDs because testosterone is also increases your cognitive function as well, which is basically what a stimulant is doing to your brain too. It's increasing cognitive function. So both of them running together, you don't need I wouldn't need as much on a high doses of test. So I would have, the Dexies here at just one pill. If I have two, it's going to creep up way further. But if I've got the PEDs down here, then I've got to put the Dexies up a little further just to make it do what it's supposed to do.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go back on them. I've just been like very ineffective lately. I've been finding like just getting distracted very easily. Um,
I can tell we've turned this post-comp rebound eating disorder podcast into an ADHD podcast.
you just cut the entire segment out.
No, yeah, it doesn't matter. I've actually had notes here, and I've already had the 10-minute warning that this is going to finish in 10 minutes. So feeling lost post-comp.
Yeah.
A lot of people will feel lost post-comp because they don't have a goal, when really I think there is a goal still, and the goal is to make it to the end of the reverse diet without fucking it up. Because it's going to, by fucking it up, it could cause a lot of problems, which we've already spoken about. Do you have anything to say about the feeling lost side of things or any advice to give on
I
that?
would just say get yourself outside, start doing the things that you couldn't do post comp that aren't just food. Go to music festivals, spend time with family, spend time with friends, maybe take up a new hobby. I would, if I could give advice to my past self, it would be do something outside of the gym to make you, love it again. Take a week off from the gym if you need to, but I wish I'd, pivoted to maybe some powerlifting or something that was just not so physique focused and more of a performance based. Just during that time is something to kind of detract from, the food, and maybe as well, like if you've got a partner or a family, just let them know during this time it might be a little bit touchy, just to be there to support you and be there to help, and say like stop if they see you kind of having a binge coming on, because
Yeah.
that can really help. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Someone that you care about that you're actually going to listen to.
Mhm.
That's really good. I think that it's also good that you said the whole strength block as well, because you're kind of setting yourself up another goal right there. It's completely different. So and because it's different, you're not used to a strength block, it becomes then a bigger goal too, kind of like a comp prep. So it's going to keep you more focused.
You're probably a little bit like neurologically fried, and your body is just not in a state though to go into the strength phase, like probably a week or two
Of course,
after. Maybe it is, but
course, after the reverse diet and you're back to maintenance and you've relaxed for a little bit, probably get through your maintenance phase first, which wants to be about 8 weeks of health phase. And then after that, go straight into a strength block. Absolutely nothing wrong with doing that 8 weeks post comp. What else have I got here?
and don't keep a big bucket of like treats for yourself after the comp.
Yeah, look, I've seen that happen before, but like my clients have said, I've got this big collection of goodies for after the comps, just stuff that I really want. Guess what? It disappeared before the comp. Because
Really.
once people are in a state of depletion, they're starving, and they've got their favorite stuff just sitting under the bed, it's going to disappear. You're going to have one bad day, have an argument with your partner, have just one little thing go wrong in your life, and that's going to be your excuse to clean up that food.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh,
Not a good idea.
we got
I remember I cheated on my diet in prep, like I think it was twice, but it was during a second prep when I had a coach that was less scary. The
okay.
first one, he intimidated the shit out of me. He would do like public announcements if a bikini girl on the team like fell off her diet. Like, yeah, it was scary.
That's fucking harsh.
I've always had a very high metabolism, but I was very food focused. I created like a PDF doc of recipes when I was in prep. And I would wait till like 11:59 at night to be able to have that first meal a day because I wouldn't be able to sleep. I was so starving. And it wasn't even that low. It was like 1,700 calories, but I get crazy metabolism.
Look, I've done exactly the same thing. I've waited up because refeed was going to be the next day, and I didn't have much structure on refeed. This was the first time I was getting refeeds, and it was just have have lots of carbs, have medium protein, and low fat. So I'd have like boxes of cereal, little cakes that were just high in carbohydrates, pretty much made out of sugar, just a whole heap of shit just sitting there. And as soon as the clock ticked over to midnight, I was just bang, I was on it. I was just shoveling everything down because at the time my diet was 200 and I think it was 250 grams of cooked chicken 5 times a day, and that was my meal plan. No veggies, no carbohydrates, no fats. It was just
That is crazy.
250 grams
Oh
of
my
cooked chicken breast.
God.
So it would have been probably 320 raw chicken breast, and that was just 5 times a day.
That is, do you end up with scurvy?
What was that?
You end up with scurvy?
What's that? Oh, did you say
Like what
kid?
the sailors get from not having vitamin C.
No, look, somehow my health stayed in a good place, but I was constipated as of probably Wednesday-ish through Thursday and Friday because there's no carbs. There was just chicken on Monday and Tuesday.
You had no fats.
No fats, nothing. And then come the weekend,
Why are there coaches like they're out there? Sorry, why are there coaches out there?
then yeah, so come the weekend, I would have so much carbs with refined sugars and cereals and all that that it would just push back through me.
You
So
probably lost. You probably lost, did you?
no, I actually came first all the time.
No, no, I meant, did you lose weight though after
Oh,
that? Because you were being so depleted during the week.
I was so depleted during the week. So I would have been going into ketosis by Wednesday, Thursday every week. And then I'd be down more than I was the next week. I'd probably be down about 700 grams to a kilo compared to the week before. And I'd feed up so much that it kept me nice and full. But I had a big distended belly on me as well that I couldn't control because it was just so much refined carbs going in there and just so much shit going in there, like just junk that, yeah, my system wasn't really liking it.
And how long were you on that for?
I did that for like 3 years straight. But
What?
that was prep after prep after prep. So
Did,
I'd have a break where
was
I just, there was no reverse diet. So I'd just eat whatever I wanted to between comps.
were
And
you
then
with a coach or did you do this yourself?
this was with a coach. Uh,
Okay.
and
We won't name shame.
uh, but yeah, it it actually taught me what not to do, and it taught me how to stay full and lean at the same time as well. So further down the track, I got some really good guidance from another coach, and yeah, I learned out of well,
That Dean?
yeah, that's when I went with Dean. So I learned a lot of good stuff through Dean, and then I kind of put the old stuff with the new stuff and my new knowledge and put everything together, and it works really well now for everything that I structured together. And yeah, so I'm able to keep myself, all my athletes, full and get shredded at the same time while health markers are kept optimally, and yeah, things just go really well.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I love the journey.
that doesn't just have to be with competitors either. I do this with my Gen Pop clients as well, just weight loss clients, like their carb cycling, their health's being kept as priority always. Like everything's always in a good place, and they've got something to look forward to as well. It helps a lot psychologically if people are pushing hard on that deficit, but they know that they've
Yeah.
a refeed coming up. They'll be all excited for the refeed so they can push through. They go, like, I've got 3 days left, three more days, and the next day I've got 2 more days left, and then I get refeed. That once they finally get there, they're happy. They feed up, and usually I try and make it big enough that they're pretty happy with what they've had, so that when they get back into that sleep deficit, they're just like, all right, cool, just another hard push for however many days.
Do you typically just refeed your clients that are already quite lean, or do you use, I guess, refeeds instead of diet breaks for people that aren't quite there yet?
It's very individual specific because everyone's so much different, and there's the different body types like mesomorph, ectomorph, endomorph. You've got to take into consideration that as well. Some people gain fat easier than others. Some people need to be carb cycled differently to others. Like there's a lot of stuff that goes into it, but once I don't know, I feel like I've been doing it for long enough now that I can just look at the person and get a quick have a quick look at their blood work, make sure it's all good, and I can figure out everything from there and structure their diet pretty well.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I use carb cycling similarly with my clients as well. But what I will say is people that aren't that advanced, I do find that sometimes what's optimal isn't what gets the result as opposed to like what fits their cycles. So for a while, I wanted to do, carb cycling with certain people real bad because I knew it would work very well. But at the end of the day, they weren't getting results. And so I had to change it to fit their schedule. And that's obviously our job. So by giving them higher weekends, even if they weren't training over the weekend, and then much lower during the week, even if they were training, they actually, in my experience, what is optimal isn't necessarily what gets the person results because people are very different. Like they've got different priorities, lifestyles. Competitors and more intermediate, advanced people are going to take their training and nutrition a little bit more seriously. Whereas some people, like they want to lose fat while still having those, weekend social events. And so we've got to tailor things to meet the client, obviously. And sometimes that means as painful. Yeah. So basically, if you are more of a beginner, intermediate, and training isn't necessarily your life just yet. Sometimes from an adherence standpoint, I do find that, positioning most of their macronutrients over the weekends and bringing those calories up to allow for a little bit more flexibility around social events can really help to see results and get adherence when they find it easier to be more compliant during the week, as opposed to ideally, what's optimal would be placing most of their carbs around their workouts to aid in recovery. But whatever's going to help them to improve adherence, that was a hard bullet for me take. As a coach, I always wanted to do what was optimal, and sometimes what is optimal is not going to be what gets your client the results. So, you've got to flex to what, even though someone says, this is my goal and I'm very passionate about, like, sometimes their social events, they want that balance and we have to flex to that. So, yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes we got to accept as coaches that we're only going to be able to hit about 80% optimal, 85% optimal to structure things to their life best. But if that means them getting 10 out of 10 adherence every day, then so be it. Because if we're not structuring it optimally, and that's making them fall down to 6, 7, highest 8 adherence with diet, then it's going to be even worse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's crazy, even just like little tweaks with your nutrition, what they can do to improve compliance, like such as having lots of veggies with your meals and water intake and spacing out your meals and not like having a proper savory meal instead of a bullshit protein bar. Like those things can make a massive difference.
Yeah, well, then protein bars also hold a lot of calories as well. Like you get a lot more volume out of something else if you're in a diet phase and you want more volume. You've got a protein bar in there. Obviously, throw the protein bar away because it's shit in there anyway. The fiber in there, the fiber content's shit. The protein's probably shit as well. The fat's going to be shit, 100%, and the carb's going to be some refined shit as well. So might as well swap it for something smart, like I don't know. I was about to say rice cakes because that's kind of clean but and functional, but they're really high dense calories as well. So that's a bit of a waste. You can swap it for a piece of fruit, even like an apple. You can swap it for a couple of pieces of fruit, like apple and a punnet of strawberries is going to be a lot more filling than. Yeah, I'd rather eat an apple and a punnet of strawberries than a protein bar. Not that that's the same macros, but you know, with your punnet of strawberries, you can get a serving of protein, mix that up with a little bit of water, especially Axe Labs, because Axe Labs have nice fluffy way that you can mix with water, turn into a syrup, and tip over your strawberries and make it freaking delicious. Much better than protein bar anyway. Got more
Yeah.
protein, tastes good. Yeah.
I used to demolish protein bars. I worked at a nutrition warehouse for a couple of years and I would have like 5 a day and they definitely cause them a lot of cravings. They spike, hunger like crazy because they're not very filling and they're designed to be really hyper palatable. Um, yeah, I had a client recently. We had a phone call and she's been really struggling with her adherence and lots of sugar cravings and kind of the urge to binge. And we went over like, obviously I'm not, registered psychologist or anything, just speaking to someone about that, but we just figured what ways can we improve adherence? And then I looked at her food diary and it's like a protein bar, some peanut butter, some rice. It's very common to see when I get new people on board that don't have much of an idea about nutrition, very low volume processed stuff. Like, if I give someone, say, 120 grams of carbs a day, they're going to have like 2 wraps and a piece of bread. I'm like, where the fuck is the vegetables? So I'm actually creating a resource at the moment for my clients on not just macros, but also health, like how to eat for health, how to be conscious of micronutrients, which veggies are going to be, more micronutrient dense than others, what is going to be a better selection if you've only got this much to work with. So,
Yeah, functional foods are always the best way to go about things.
mm.
And
Pumpkin soup in a
people,
deficit, really good.
sorry,
Pumpkin soup in a deficit's really good.
I never tried, but pumpkin is a good one to, yeah, if you don't have much carbs to play with.
Mm.
But I was going to say, yeah, people who don't have a good knowledge on things, they're going to think that things like protein bars are good because it's a protein bar. They're not looking, they're not like us. We'll walk into a shopping center and we're looking at every single freaking macro chart on every piece of food that we pick up. And they're picking up a protein bar and they think this is great. It's just protein. But really it's probably more fat than it is protein, carbs, and
Yeah.
it's a whole heap of shit in there, which isn't going to be a functional food.
I think context wise, like it's obviously going to be better than a chocolate bar, but I would say like a tin of tuna and some berries is, or what you can do if you forget your lunch is like they do roast whole chicken breasts at the shops, and those are great. Just pair it with some blueberries, and there you go. Also beef jerky.
I don't trust them. I think those roast chickens have been doused in oil because they stay very tender for a very long time. And you know when you're depleted and you eat something and you can taste fat in it because fat tastes fucking beautiful when you're depleted. Yeah, I can taste fat in them chickens,
Oh,
the breast.
no, no, no. I'm not talking about like the roast chicken bags.
Oh, okay. Okay.
No, no, of course, those have so much fat.
Yeah.
But they're just like smoked chicken breasts that have been like cling wrapped and they're like really lean.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. I know the
Yeah.
ones. I get it for my son and I put it in
Yeah.
wrap room. He loves it.
Yeah. I do try and avoid tuna just because of like the mercury, but
Yeah. Yeah. I have a lot of people who jump on board with me and they want tuna in their diet. And I okay it, but I say this tuna is going to go in like 4 to 6 weeks because I don't want you to have it for too long because of the mercury content. Let's just break it up a little bit and then we can bring it back in later on.
that's really good. And also, if you've watched Seaspiracy, you'll never eat tuna again.
And I haven't watched anything like that.
You're
But
fucked.
I do feed my son a lot of tuna as well because it's a quick, easy source of protein for him. I make sure he doesn't have like my clients. I make sure he doesn't have it too regularly. But if he's going to have it tuna and rice twice a week, that's fine.
Yeah. Sardines are my new favorite. Everything. They're an acquired taste, but the Sol Mireille smoked ones are really good, and they've got a very, very high omega-3 content, even higher than salmon, and they've got a very high calcium content.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Ben Kant got me onto the sardines. They're
Okay,
like the biggest superfood. They're great.
are they in glass or are they in tin?
In tin.
Okay, I think you can get sardines in glass. I'm not 100% on that, but I think I've seen it in glass jars before, which would be a lot.
Mm,
Yeah.
probably.
Um,
Probably.
Also, another thing that people make a big mistake on is getting pre-prepped meals like my muscle chef. That they're like, I don't know why I can't grow anymore or why I'm not progressing anymore, but I'm getting 5 my muscle chef meals a day, and yeah, my results have just stopped or plateaued, and that's why they'll be reaching out to me. And I'll
They're
say,
actually pretty garbage food.
yeah,
Like,
and their
it's pretty
macros are
fucking.
they're allowed to be 20% off the mark with their macros. So obviously, if you're allowed to be 20% off the mark, you're going to use that to your advantage. And you're going to say that fats are a lot lower than what they are, proteins are a lot higher than what they are, and carbs are probably correct.
Mm.
Yeah, I think a lot of that shit goes on in the food industry as well, where macros get fucked with a little bit like that because it's more beneficial for sales purpose.
They've got a 20% discrepancy allowance, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you know apparently so you know how Smart Bars rebranded?
Um, which one's Smart Bar?
Do you know Smart Bars? That Smart Diet Solution. Apparently they were owned by like a nutritionist or dietitian. You can cut this out if you want. But apparently they have like a bunch of sugar in them and they said no sugar.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the old ones had a bunch of sugar, which is
Smart
crazy.
bars are actually ringing a bell. It's
Yeah. They're the only ones I trusted with my clients. But apparently they were caught for having a bunch of sugar. Like I don't know if they had a lawsuit going on or something, but I might be talking about probably cut this out. But
in case it's incorrect.
Mhm.
But yeah, I find when you're really depleted for comp, because I'm always really depleted for comp. Well, quite not always, but quite often, I can taste if there's fat in something, I can taste it. If there's sugar in something, I can taste it. And
Mm.
yeah, my brain will just tell me that's not what it's supposed to be. Don't eat it. Like I was eating, what was it? I eat these oat cluster things at the moment. They're not real. It's like a granola, and it said that it was really low in fat. And but I could taste fat in there. I thought this was bullshit. It's not as low
Which
in
brand today?
Carmen's.
Yeah, I know the ones. Jacob had a massive granola obsession, but I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure it gave him a hernia.
Oh, really? Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know he's got his hernia. I seen him at the gym the other day and he was talking about that. But yeah, I'm still on the Carmen's clusters, but I've just pulled them back a lot because I could taste the fat in there. Like it,
Mm.
because my head has grown because I chew my food so much. Like I've hypertrophied my fucking head here because I chew everything
Yeah.
so much now. I want to atrophy it because it's too big. But anyway, that's something else. Yeah,
Just get some Botox.
I was going to get Botox here, so it would stop. only one
I
side's
need
big,
to get massive to Botox.
and I'm actually swollen under here because I chew so much. I've been swollen under here for like the last 3 months. But yeah, it's
Oh.
because I keep buying things like this, Garmin's clusters or whatever they are, and I chew it so much that it turns into a liquid before I even swallow it, because I think that's the best way to keep the midsection in nice and tight. I've recently
Mhm.
discovered that anyway, that it keeps it in really tight. If you get foods that are really hard to chew through, it will hold your midsection in more because digestion's switched on properly and you're actually doing all the work yourself. Not like you get a minced meat or cream of rice or something that'll tend to distend your stomach because the pulverizing's already been done. It's already
Mhm.
been smashed down into near nothingness. So you don't have to chew it much at all. So digestion doesn't switch on as much, which is going to then distend your stomach a little bit more. So if you get stuff that's a lot harder to chew, it works a lot better. But yeah, because I chew it down to that tiny little um, piece of saliva, basically, I can taste whatever's in there, and I can taste the
Mhm.
fat, I can taste sugars or whatever, and a lot of
Yeah.
sugars. Not what it's supposed to be, I think, or the fat content will be under. There's that 20% thing again, anyway, that allowance that they have to be able to
Mhm.
manipulate things to look better to suit sales.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, just prep your own meals. Do you, when you meal prep, do you prep like, a couple of days worth, or do you just do big batches as you go?
Well, I have my all guidance that I give to clients, I tell them prep your freaking meals, because they don't have the freedom that coaches have. We get a lot more free time in our day, and
Yeah.
because I've been doing this so long, I'm freaking sick of a lot of foods. So I need basically I'll prep my rice for 4 days. That's fine. It doesn't
Mhm.
taste too bad. 4 days prepped, and then veggies. I get a selection of veggies that I don't really have to cook. I can just give it a rinse, or it's already pre-rinsed, and I can just throw it straight into my rice. And
Mhm.
that way I don't have to worry about cooking it and prepping it. I can just chuck it in the morning, because chicken is a staple, obviously.
Mhm.
That's got to stay, but I can't eat chicken that's been in the fridge for one day. So I'll do whatever I'm doing in the morning. I might go for my morning walk and then come back, put the chicken in the air fryer, do a couple more laps around the block while it's cooking, and then I can put that into the rice and veg as well. And that's all the prepped stuff. So I basically prep day by day, but the carbs are prepped already if it's rice. All the other meals don't need to be prepped, and the chicken just gets prepped daily. First thing in the morning, the whole day's chicken. If I've
Mhm.
got steak, I'll just cook it fresh. But yeah, unfortunately, not everybody has that type of time in their day. And because I basically work from home as well, it's a bit easier. Not everyone has
Mhm.
that time. So I'll tell all clients, just prep your meals, because that's going to set you up to be able to succeed with your diet, in opposed to fucking up your diet because your meals weren't prepped and you got a little bit hungry and decided that you're just going to quickly get something small while you cooked your meal. And that turns into a big shit show.
Yeah, definitely.
How about
Um,
yourself?
well, what we do is like we compare obviously we've got a lot of spare time on our hands, like we're just at home working. So we have these big batches of chicken and vegetables, and they are the chicken, veg, and rice, they can be like the staples of your meal, and then anything else can be kind of the variable amount.
Yeah.
So I always make sure I have those prepped. It's weird, like recently, I swear, since sticking to chicken and rice, I feel like rice has gone straight to my muscles, whereas I know this sounds very bro science, but I've just noticed from empirical observation, other carbohydrates, I feel a bit more inflamed, but I feel like, my muscles just suck up the rice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I tend to agree as well. Like, I haven't really told anyone, but I'm competing again this weekend coming, and
Oh,
yeah, I've been playing around a lot with to see what happens with inflammation and different carbohydrates and all that sort of stuff. And I would used to lean a lot towards potato, because potato has high potassium. It just seems to really get sucked into the muscle a lot more. But now I do lean more towards rice as well. So my plan this week is I have, like, you're probably not going to believe that this is a diet going into a comp, but I have 4 rice meals. So 100 grams of uncooked rice, so 250 grams of rice, 4 times a day, with 200 grams of chicken and veg. That's my meal plan going into this comp. And I do have oats at night with protein powder, berries to get my fruit in, a banana as a snack, and those Carmen cluster things are still in. And that's what my meal plan is going into the show. I just changed it all to rice because it seems to really, like you said, suck into the muscle, and it helps. I find it helps keep the midsection really small as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like I'm dieting when I have rice as a bit as opposed to other shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I, it's interesting because I couldn't pull my midsection back in. And I thought, is it because I'm really lean still and maybe I'm sensitive to the gluten in the oats or the Carmen's clusters that I'm having at night? And then I realized it was the yogurt. Like as I was eating it, because I had chobani with strawberries and the Carmen's clusters. But I took the yogurt out because while I was eating it, I could feel my gut distending and bloating. And I thought, oh, that's what it is. So I fucked that off only 2 days ago, and already everything's better.
Mm. Yeah, I find the same with yogurt for sure. Um, it's really interesting with like rice and potatoes as well. You can create resistant starches out of them, which is something Ben taught me. But with like resistant starches, you can kind of use them to leverage a bit more if you're someone that kind of struggles to, um, if you're more on the endomorph body type, you can use those to push up calories higher because they turn into like a starch, like a fiber. So you can eat kind of more of it and it's good for the gut and it doesn't, I'm pretty sure you don't actually absorb as many calories from it when it is refrigerated and reheated.
Do you mean potato mixed with rice?
No, either one.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. Look, potato is also pretty high in fiber as well, whereas
Mhm.
rice is not, I don't think. Rice isn't that high in fiber.
Mm. But they form like a resistant starch if you refrigerate them and cool them down over 24 hours, which is really cool.
I
Um,
didn't know that.
yeah, Ben Cart's got a lot on. I think he did a podcast with Flex Success and they were talking about it.
Okay, yeah, I didn't listen to that one. I've listened to
Yeah.
a few of Flex's podcasts. That's yeah.
Yeah, so that's just being in my head if I'm like pretty starving in the build, which I still am. Like I can use the rice as, a way of bumping up calories more.
Oh, that's really interesting. Well, only if
Mm.
it's refrigerated for 24 hours. I'm gonna look into that a little bit more.
Yeah, and definitely.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
Uh,
sure even your microwave rices would do that.
sorry.
I'm pretty sure even your microwave rice would be a form of resistant starch if, because they're
The
cooled down.
microwave that they also to preserve it, there's higher in fats, so it would be more resistant anyway.
Yeah, very, very slightly, I think. They've maybe got 3 or 4 grams, maybe five per packet, but yeah.
I think people with intolerances, like bad intolerances, would probably be intolerant to that rice and bloat a little bit from it. But yeah,
Maybe.
that's just
It's
because I have spoken
apparently
to someone who thinks that
fine.
she's intolerant to everything, and she said that about that, and that was the rice that she was using. And I said, well, why don't you try using normal rice because it's probably this rice from the preservatives that are in it if you're that sensitive to everything.
Yeah, sometimes they use like vegetable oil and stuff. Um, but I've got to go to the beach now. Unfortunately, I'm going to meet Jacob there.
That's all right. We've been going for ages anyway. Um,
Thank you.
send me your email address. Do you have a Google Drive?
Yes, I do.
Send me the email address and I'll send these videos to you as well so you can cut them up and do whatever you want with them.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much.
That's all good. Thank you.
Awesome.
It was really hard to get through to you via message.
Mhm.
So I'm glad we finally got through and got it done.
Yeah, I'm glad to. Are you
All right.
doing much for today?
Dacia's got more races on in a couple of hours. So yeah,
Cool.
just go take him to his races. And other than that, I'm just posing because I'm kind of behind on my posing.
Hmm. Do you
Yeah,
post every day?
I don't, but I should be. Yeah. What beach are you going to?
Hmm?
What beach are you going to?
Mordialloc Beach. It's really nice.
Okay, yeah, the sun looks like it's out. I'm just on St Kilda anyway, so I can see if it's nice or not.
Oh, really? I didn't know you lived there. I thought it was close to the gym.
Nah, I live in St Kilda, right, Backland Street, so it's good.
Oh, cool.
Anyway,
Awesome.
enjoy the beach and let me know where to send these videos to as well.
Yeah, I'll send it through. Thank you. And good luck with your comp. How exciting. I don't think
Thanks.
I'll be going to that one, but I can't wait to see the photos.
Yeah. Thank you. Do my
Is
best.
it? It's IFBB still, right?
This one's PCA. All the IFBB ones are finished. But I wasn't
Okay.
happy with my posing at my last one, so I'm purely doing this comp to fix up the posing that I wasn't happy with.
Okay.
So I better start practicing.
Yeah. Get to it. See
All
ya.
right, I'll see you later.